Warning: the following podcast contains violent scenes that may be unsettling to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, and welcome to the Brian Diaries, where my pals and I get together and talk about subjects dealing with our favorite tabletop role-playing setting, the World of Darkness. While we may not be subject matter experts on the game lines, we have a passion that has led us to create and share actual plays with you all. Eventually we thought, well shit, we might as well take a stab at a podcast, and here you go. Each episode we will have a guest content creator to join us to talk about whatever subject is on the table. If you would like to contact us, you can reach out to us on Twitter at twin_cities_VTM or on Facebook at Twin Cities by Night. So here we go. I hope you enjoy. Hello and welcome to the Brian Diaries, the podcast where we play World of Darkness games not because we like horror, but because we love cold brew coffee. I'm joined here today by Andrew. What's up, Andrew? Hello. And so our guest today, I like to do a little intro to our guest before I hand it over to him. So today we are joined by perhaps one of the most talked about World of Darkness, Vampire the Masquerade gameplay podcasts that I hear from people's lips whenever someone asks, what's a Vampire the Masquerade podcast I should check out, an actual play podcast. I am totally blown away by the chemistry these two folks have. And believe it or not, this is the first time we've had a duet guest. So I would like to introduce the Esoteric Order of Roleplayers. And I'll hand it over to you guys. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves and introduce yourselves to the listeners?
So David, you can go if you want.
Yeah, I'll go. Hi, I'm David Larkins, and I am the founder of the Esoteric Order of Roleplayers, and I'm here with my wife, Desiree Valdez, and she is my partner in our World of Darkness Duet chronicles that we have going on.
Yeah, and so my name is Desiree Valdez, and I am part of the Esoteric Order of Roleplayers, and we also have our duets, which we'll be talking about today. And yeah, so I am from Los Angeles, California, have been living in Santa Fe, New Mexico for about 8 years now. And just to give you some context for where I'm from. And yeah, that's about it.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about like what the format of your guys' actual plays and like some World of Darkness ones that you guys are known for that you have on your channel and podcast.
Yeah, I think we're primarily known for what we call our duet games, which is a term I picked up just from online, other people who do this. And it's a one-on-one game. We have one storyteller and one player character. We also do some group World of Darkness games, and usually Desiree runs those. And she's a pretty ruthless and bloodthirsty storyteller.
Yeah, always.
Always. Disturbing people left and right. But yeah, I think primarily we do World of duets, and of those, I mean, they are World of Darkness, but they are so far exclusively Vampire the Masquerade 20th Anniversary Edition games. So, and
then we also have our Hunter Chronicle that we've started as well, which is I guess kind of an offshoot.
I lumped that in because it was Hunters Hunted originally, so it's kind of vampire adjacent.
It is vampire adjacent, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because you guys have Desiree, you ran the Giovanni Chronicles group game that you guys have on your channel, and then Neon Masquerade. What do you call that? The whole series? Because there's a couple different games that fall under like the Neon Masquerade, like I guess continuity that you guys have, the LA by Night. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we've been actually talking more about what that name is, and so moving on into that, the ones that fall under the umbrella of like our Los Angeles by Night, quote unquote, would be Neon Masquerade, The Demon's Mirror, and 13 Candles, and East of Eden, which is our current chronicle that's, we're getting into the third and final story of that particular chronicle. But in terms of our name, I'm going to toss it over to Larkins to describe what the name is if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, we're brainstorming because we did kind of recognize like, oh, this has kind of gotten beyond a single chronicle, which the first chronicle was Neon Masquerade. So kind of like how everyone calls all the Star Wars movies Star Wars. If everyone called all those chronicles Neon Masquerade, that would be fine. I don't know. We're talking about nightlife would be one option, but we haven't formalized anything yet.
It's still pretty dynamic. That's cool, man. Like I believe it or not, like with all the stuff that we have going on with our channel and just other outside hobbies of mine, it's really hard for me at times to like sit down and really get into an actual play. But I mean, literally, there are so many people who I know who bring up how much they enjoy not only your guys' World of Darkness games, but like ton of other games that you guys have that you run on your podcast, different game lines. But I remember I sat down. And I remember specifically listening to the character creation session of Neon Masquerade, and I was just totally blown away by the chemistry. You know, obviously you two have a chemistry, you guys are married and, you know, in a relationship and all that. But I mean, just like, it felt like relaxing. Like I literally was listening to that and I just felt like a sense of ease listening to it, because I feel one of the a great sign of a good podcast is no matter what the subject, actual play or whatever, is when there's a chemistry between the host. You know, sometimes you listen to something like that, it seems very forced and very just like not organic. But listening to you guys, it just felt like at ease, because I felt like I was literally just like part of the conversation, like hearing you guys talk back and forth about, you know, about her character. And especially and kudos to you also, Dave, is your voices that you do for your NPCs. I was just totally blown away. Like it just made me really
your
feel
Texas accent actually is pretty good, by the way. You know, a lot of people. I was not offended at all.
Yeah. I mean, I think I appreciate that feedback on our conversational style and the way that we sort of unfold things. And I think that comes from, I mean, we have a strong amount of trust in each other. And I think that contributes to the feel. I think we also, I mean, David has been gaming for so long, and I say that with love. And I think you're just such a pro, and so there's that piece to it. And I also have always been interested in like the recording, like radio and talking and having interview shows and all that kind of stuff. And I think that informs how how we comport ourselves throughout the sessions. And also we trust each other. Like emotionally, there's a lot of stuff you can get into in the World of Darkness. And I think sometimes it can be scary with a group of people. It takes a lot of vulnerability. And I think because we already kind of have that sort of baked in, we're able to access those points. But we're also strongly visualizing the landscape. We both have seen it, we know it, and we're familiar with it. And David's ability to access all of those voices, I think, also contributes to that landscape too.
Yeah, it's a real argument for setting a chronicle in a place that you know, because you're going to get a lot more verisimilitude that way, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things I wanted to touch on later when we start asking questions too.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and one thing too that really drew me to check you guys out is, you know, I've said this for people who listen to the Brian Diaries. I've said this in past Brian Diaries. Like, there's not like one true way to like run World of Darkness games, I suppose, but there are ways that I prefer. And I prefer more like the personal horror, kind of horror based of it. Like you said, exploring themes and that you know, you have to have the right group and an understanding with the group. And one thing, especially the people in our own group, bring you guys up a lot by saying, hey, these guys have very, you know what I mean, they are on the same wavelength of like how we view the World of Darkness, and you like, you need to check this out, and that's why I did. And yeah, so it's really awesome, man, to have you guys on. And the way and one of the first things, and this is a shout out to Tillman, who's a member of our group who listens to you guys, one of the first things I heard about you guys, like, these guys like look up stuff about the 80s and they like literally get it right. And I forgot what the hell that shit is called, where that you guys talked about in the introduction, where you can like look up things, a little book or whatever. And I'm like, this is so awesome. And so I'm like, note to self, look up stuff about timeline if I ever do it. So like,
yeah, you make the period piece just like it works, because it's you tie in all those different little quirks about living in that time and making, like, even if though it's just in the 80s, you know, life still was very different than it is now, and it stands out because you're able to show that in the way you tell the story and how things unfold, and like, you know, carrying around a pager, you like how unique that was to any other type of communication that we have now.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
pager
for
was
sure.
something because I think I was so desperate that my character, I was like, no, like he needs to have something that he can know who's calling him because he's so much on the road. He's a typical gangrel, all over the place, outside. God only knows where he's going to turn up. And I'm like, no, a pager. So then it was kind of like, well, technically, would he have access to that? And then we figured out a way to justify it, which was helpful because things are getting pretty gnarly there. But anyway, yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And also, I think you're talking about the Thomas Guide,
Yeah.
which is the map, right? And David can talk more about that.
Yeah. I was talking about the Thomas Guide, yeah, and also the rad '80s horror movie collection on VHS.
Oh my
but
God, yes.
Hell yeah.
I digress.
Everyone loves Derek. Derek's like
Mhm.
everyone's favorite NPC. So
Yeah, definitely good stuff. So if you guys want to find ways that you can view or listen to the EORs, that's short for their group, by the way. So if you hear me say EOR, that is what I am talking about. You can find it if you're watching the video, you'll see it in the video description, or you'll see it in the podcast description. Feel free to check them out.
Yeah.
We'll also have their social media links and everything there, so where you can have them. All right, so let's go ahead and jump to our first break, and then we'll come back. We will talk about Duet gaming.
Hello, folks. Have you ever wished you could have an easy way to find gameplay videos and podcasts, or just media in general that deals with your favorite White Wolf role-playing games? Or have you ever wished you could find a forum to share gameplay that you have recorded, one which wouldn't be drowned out by random posts and discussion, so that your media could get the attention you want? Well, we have the answer for you in a Facebook group we run called White Wolf RPGs Gameplay and Media. The group is specifically ran with the sole intent of it being a one-stop shop for people to view or share media involving the games we all love. We take thorough steps to ensure the page does not become cluttered and is easy to traverse. We are currently over 1,000 members strong, and we are continuing to rapidly grow with new media being shared every day. Stop on by. We hope to see you there.
All right, welcome back. So we are going to be talking about Duet gaming.
Yeah, let's start this off with one of the more in-depth questions, I think, what I hinted at a minute ago. And I want to ask, how does the Duet style help bring out more in-depth storytelling and the horror of the World of Darkness, and what types of advantages this type of playing method offers to you guys?
that is an in-depth question. I like it. Well, I mean, the most obvious answer to that is that when you only have one player, you can really just go all in on that player and their character in terms of background development, tying them into the world, not really having to worry about spotlight time, so because it's all on that one person. You can even get into some special, kind of like character concepts. Like when Des ran 13 Candles, I played a Salubri. I would never play a Salubri
Yeah.
group game. I would never do that because that's like saying like, hey everyone, I'm the special snowflake character. Pay attention to me. But
I don't want a
to do it.
13-year-old Salubri.
Yeah.
Right.
He needs delivery.
So, but yeah, in a duet game, you can kind of get away with that kind of stuff. So,
there's an emotional piece to it. I think also there's more of a chance to, as a player, it's more of a chance to develop my character. So not just being like, I'm good at this, blah, here you go. There's like, oh, okay, well, I'm good at this, but then there's other things that I can play. There's this emotional undercurrent. I can think about my character's relationship to their brother, or I can think about a little bit more strategically who I want to align with. But that also it also feels very scary, which I love too. So I think it raises the stakes for me as well, because I know that he's going to hit me pretty hard with a lot of interesting things, but at the same time, I mean, I'm always afraid, like, okay, this could be the last session. Like Aaron Evans, my character, can meet his end. But at the same time, I know that it's always dependent on me to see where things go. And I can, I don't know, it just helps me to feel a little less weak, I guess. As much as it might be like, yeah, we have a lot of people playing and they can cover your butt or whatever. I'm like, well, I'm the only one taking care of myself, so I need to figure out how this works. And I think it works particularly well with the Gangrel character because they are so much like these lone wolves, and so it fits in that case. If you were doing like a Tremere Chronicle or something like, I think it would be much more difficult. But I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I was just going to say a part of our secret of success is that we just lucked into having a character who could thrive on their own, basically. So,
I was going to ask that. Would you say that it kind of makes it so that the player plays just as much a role in like forging the story as a storyteller does from their own perspective? Being just the two of you, you have more kind of control over that.
Yes, as a player, I absolutely do, which I love because, I mean, during like in between sessions, you know, I'm always trying to contribute to the storyline and like, what about this and what about that? And usually I have such a bad memory at times that by the time David brings it up back in the game, I'm like, oh, I'm like legitimately surprised, but it might have been something we talked about like 4 months ago. It's like, oh yeah. So I think like as a player, it's very rewarding because you are getting to collaborate. You're like co-GMing basically, or storytelling. Sorry.
Yeah, to add to that, and I just like, I guess a comment about like what we're talking about currently is like, as a storyteller myself, I find it very commendable that you're able to do it, because I feel like there's times when I'm like storytelling and there's like a really intense scene that I'm having with the player, you know what I mean? And when that scene is done, I almost welcome being able to go and focus on another player so I can like recharge my batteries and just like let everything settle that happened. And even like in our Sabbat game, we had a scene where like one of the players like, can you come back to me? I need to like think about or settle, you know what I mean? And I find that like that maybe is part of the reason why you guys are successful. One of the many reasons, but is because like there's no escaping that. You know what I mean? There's like, it's going to happen. And I would and that kind of leads into my next question is how like what are some steps that you find that lead to a duet game being successful? Because the reason I ask is I don't think I'll ever try it, and I don't want to say never, just because I feel like I don't have the constitution for it. You know, as a storyteller, I'm one of those guys. After I storytell a group, I like have a storyteller hangover. You know, where like 2 or 3 days I'm sitting there just like not feeling like myself, and I have to like collect my thoughts. What are some ways to be successful as a storyteller or just a duet group? Do you think that would help others who may be looking into doing it?
Yeah, I'll throw in a caveat here, which is that I think maybe one of the reasons why I find it to be a style that I'm comfortable with is because when way back, you know, circa 1992, when I was first getting into playing RPGs, I could only find one friend who was interested. So for a couple years, it really was us just doing the one-on-one gaming back then. So like to slip back into that format with Desiree was pretty natural for me. But yeah, we do take breaks. I mean, they're not represented in the recording, you know, like we'll pause and take a little break here and there when we need to. But yeah, like in terms of ensuring a successful one, I would say, you know, chemistry with the player. You definitely need someone, both of you need to have full buy-in on it. It can't just be like, hey, you want to do a one-on-one game? Sure, I guess. You know, it's like you both really into it. And then designing a character who's well suited for a one-on-one game. So like I said, we kind of lucked into it with Aaron Evans, but I've kind of realized since then, because with my Salubri character, Charlotte, like I think that was a little bit of a challenge for Desiree because my character was not combat oriented at all. So she couldn't just throw antagonists at me, you know, or if she did, it's like, well, you're going to lose. Guess what? So then she had to deal with that fallout. So
yeah, that's one thing I never really thought of as being a key to success is the proper type of character. I never really even really until you mentioned that, like I didn't even factor that in. Like when I was listening to you guys, that like this might not work with like whatever Tornado or Harpy type character or you know, thousands of other type characters. So you're saying that you want to be very like open and selective about like would you say up front, like you said you lucked out, right? Was it really luck, or was it like you guys sat there and kind of bounced ideas back and forth for characters, and you as a storyteller was more kind of like, this is one that I think would work?
I think. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, I was going to say it was literally like Desiree had no experience with vampire whatsoever. So I said, the first thing you want to do is pick a clan. Here's the 13 clans. She goes, Gangrel. And that was it. I mean, we just kind of went from there. So
we did, and I think with all of that, with Aaron at least, I had kind of a strong character concept. I thought, okay, well, he happens to be Gangrel, which actually is kind of tricky with the character concept that I came up with, but I think we matched it up pretty well. And there was stuff that it just kind of flowed. It's kind of that sweet spot, which I wouldn't necessarily say is luck, but it's kind of tapping into that. I always kind of like think of gaming as like channeling these things that are actually somewhere in the ether, but we tapped into this vein, and it was literally but it was like we really tapped into it and was like, wow, okay, all this stuff's just flowing, coming forward, like holy smokes, like how could this be so easy? So we lucked into that. With 13 Candles, I would say that I had never done any sort of concerted storytelling. I had never done a chronicle except for Giovanni, which is very highly scripted. But this is the first time just developing something on my own. So with David, I just, as long as he knew who his character was and what he wanted, the themes he wanted to explore. So really, like, I mean, it's a lot of that, like, it's like, what themes do you want to talk about? Do you want to do like a coming of age story? Do you want to do, what are some themes? So we really think about the themes. And then we also do other things to help guide the story along. So it's not just like floating around. Like, we give ourselves a lot of constraints. And I think through our the titles of our stories and our chapters too guide us. So I think, like, in talking about a structure, find a structure that works for you, but the structure that's worked for us has been having a playlist for every chronicle. And David can talk more about that.
That
yeah,
actually
and I
is
would
something
just
that
add,
one of our listeners
Ooh.
wanted to focus on.
Ooh.
Is they
Ooh.
wanted to know how you guys were able to come up with the playlists that you had, the song choices, and why you made those decisions.
Yeah, I can definitely talk more on that. I just wanted to add that something that I discovered through gameplay is, like, as Desiree mentioned, like, I don't do anything, and she doesn't either when she runs, anything mechanically to, like, ensure the character's survival. Like, I know Gumshoe 1-to-1, which is another, duet focus system. I believe mechanically you cannot die until the finale of the story, and it's kind of like, I guess they did that to ensure that you would have a complete experience. But for me, that kind of defangs the whole thing. And, if there's a chance that you could die, then I'm not going to hold back on that. But at the same time, when you run a duet game, you have to be ready to break some received wisdom that you might have with a group game. So, for example, neither one of us, when we run, are very shy about handing out XP. Like, we'll give like 2 or 3 XP for role playing, or whatever, like, so that, you can kind of get your dots up a little faster, not a huge amount, but just a little faster than you would in a group game. Or, having NPCs there to help out, because that's one of the big challenges with duet gaming is, like, normally it's brain trust, right? Like 3 to 5 brains all thinking about a problem at once. Whereas with and then also you get little breaks, like when the spotlight's on somebody else. But with a duet game, spotlight's on you the whole time, and it's up to you to come up with solutions. So if an NPC is there to help out a little bit, it's not a problem.
Right. I think having an extensive NPC list is very helpful if you're running the story for someone. And that is, as much as it's fun, and it's very overwhelming. If you just look at, if we can put up our, like, 13 Candles, like an example of, like, the tons of different characters and all the characters in Neon Masquerade so far. It's just a lot of NPCs to have in your pocket, and that just helps you as a storyteller, and it helps out the player too. And if the player has an idea for different NPCs, we're kind of open to those ideas. So in collaborating on that, it's like, oh, well, who do you think you would like to see, or what kind of a person, what kind of a NPC? So NPCs are helpful.
So, you want to, shall we get into the music part right now?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. So, the playlist thing came out of my own habit of making playlists for just campaigns and chronicles in general. That's just something I tend to do as a part of my prep, is to, throw some songs on a playlist that I can listen to, and it just helps me kind of get in that mood. And I had done that because I'd been wanting to run a duet vampire game with Desiree for a while. And so I already had a playlist that I was sort of putting together to kind of keep that fire kindled, I guess you could say. And I guess I was thinking about the old, like first and second edition Vampire and World of Darkness rule books, they would always have those lyrics, music lyrics quoted in different sections, And so that was always a part of that sort of aesthetic, was to have, like a Sisters of Mercy lyric or a Bauhaus lyric or something, So I was just kind of like, yeah, maybe I can just kind of integrate this. What if, I think I was on a plane when I came up with this. We were flying out to visit some family in LA, actually. And I was just like, wow, what if I just had each song be like the individual chapter in the chronicle? Yeah, that's a great idea, And so that's just kind of where that started. And, what I do, like my sort of unofficial approach, and then Desiree picked up the ball with this and ran with it as well, is to sort of like look at it as a mix that's being made in its own time. So like the music for Neon Masquerade, or the music for 13 Candles, or the music for Demon's Mirror are all drawn from contemporary music of the time. Like Neon Masquerade, I was like, no music after 1989, and primarily West Coast bands and singers. With Desiree, it was like primarily mid 60s Southern California, like garage rock, psychedelic rock, that kind of thing. So once you set those parameters for yourself, you can start looking at within those genres that you've assigned to yourself and start putting a mix together. And then again, like much like with the character creation, it just sort of flows from there. So
yeah, I agree. I think the titles of the songs, the lyrics of the songs, that can help to inform how you're crafting that story. And it can also inspire the player too. And it's funny, sometimes I don't want to know what the name of the chapter is until the very end. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Like we really got into that. And I felt that for 13 Candles, it was as a first time storyteller, it was good for me to have that guidance and go, okay, I kind of know the arcs. I kind of know where I want this to go. These are the songs that are conveying that, and it's helping me to run this story, or to tell the story with David. So I think everything David said is key. It should be something that speaks to the time. It has to be strict. You can't just throw any songs in there. It's just like, how is this telling the story? Like, really, how is it focusing on the narrative? How is it highlighting or complementing the feel? And because it's all, to me, I mean, to immerse yourself in this world and what we've created so far, and I think what's been enabled us to create this larger world and all of these characters, is that really being strict with ourselves about what we want to include and what needs to stay out, so that it does feel of its time, so that it does represent that. And that makes the personal horror even weirder, because then you're like, oh yeah, I have this really strong sense of place, and why is this happening to this person, or what is going to happen next, because this person, like, they're so vulnerable, because I can feel where they are. I guess that's the best way I can describe it.
Oh, so I was just going to say, like, we even went so far with the Demon's Mirror to have the mix be an actual artifact in the game, where Amy, the protagonist, was investigating the death of her friend Dawn, and the mix was literally a cassette that Dawn had given to Amy shortly before she died. So
that's so rad. I love your that. Like, no, it's cool, man. I'm as a fan of music myself. I'm not like I'm going to call myself an expert or whatever. I like to listen to music sometimes. I've had, not for every story on our channel, but there's specific moments and specific stories that I've used music while writing notes or thinking to get myself in a mood that I want the tone to come across as, in specific stories of ours, like in our Homecoming one, like the last third or last half of it, or last third of it, actually, I was listening to a lot of Radiohead because at the time Westworld season 1 was out on HBO, and they had a lot of Radiohead playing on piano, and it kind of led me down this rabbit hole. And so I'd find when I was doing notes for those last few sessions, I was listening to like songs like what was that motion picture theme song that Radiohead does, stuff like that, and just like bringing out this like these, I hate to sound all whatever, snooty, but bring out these emotions within me. So when I'm writing, I feel like I'm coming across, because that's the emotions I want to get out of the players when the scene happens. You know what I mean? Or when those scenes happen.
Exactly. I don't think that's snooty at all. I mean, I think the thing with horror games is that the emotions have to be there. The stakes have to be there in order for people to invest and to care and to be as stricken by what is actually happening here. Like as my character Aaron is losing more of his humanity as he's going through, like, what is this doing to his brain? Like, it's something that we shouldn't shy away from. I think it needs to be talked about, because to make the personal horror even more horrifying, you have to say, like, what does this person care about? What means the most to them? What is being taken away from them? And that is that humanity, I think, that at least he's trying to slightly cling to. I don't know anymore, but that's important. And another piece to the playlist is that, so I've made playlists for myself in terms of my character, like my interpretations of the Chronicle. And that's kind of like, I throw any songs into that playlist for myself to listen to, just to get myself in that mindset. But then also I've then created a playlist for Aaron, like songs Aaron would hear on the road, or things that would be touchstones for him. So if he happens to walk into a convenience store and he hears this song, like that means something to him. And it means something to me playing him. And so David has allowed me to send him about, I don't know, 16 songs that would be like Aaron's road trip mix. And so these run the gamut from like 70s country to, more modern, quote unquote, 1990s, I don't know, just anything really. So it's been really fun with that too. Music's a big piece of it.
That's pretty awesome. I like how you guys have integrated music into the story.
Thanks.
I guess that brings us to the last question we had. This is a question that I want to know the answer to, and I'm sure some of the listeners may want to be clued in on this. What was your favorite moment as storyteller or player or both in your Chronicle? What's your most favorite moment?
We were just talking about one last night that may be favorite moment. Yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't listened, then there's like spoilies, but
spoilers. But basically, in the Demon's Mirror started out as a Hunter's Hunted Chronicle, and then we switched gears over into Hunter the Vigil in order to, again, like kind of referencing back to that first question, like give Desiree some extra powers so that she could like thrive. Because Hunter's Hunted, I think, is a great group game. But as far as a duet game, Hunter the Vigil, or even if you wanted to go back and do Hunter the Reckoning, might be better because the character is more empowered. So we did the whole bit where Desiree's character Amy was discovering her powers. Like they were sort of emerging due to basically being this inheriting this bloodline of hunters, and so there was an episode where she confronted Karen Anatos, who was the primary antagonist of the Chronicle.
Karen, we love you.
Huh?
I said, Karen, we love you.
Karen, we love you. Yes. And yeah, I don't know. That was a very high stakes episode where we were just talking about this last night, actually. Like, Desiree, weren't you saying like that's the closest you've ever felt to like playing like high stakes poker, basically? Like,
yeah, like in terms of that, that's when the duet gaming can get really intense, because it's like, okay, either this is going to work or I'm going to fail miserably, and everything's on the line. And oh my God. And like, yeah, I think we were talking about that because, we were talking about that, this moment where Amy's powers come through and she succeeds in such a wonderful way for Amy, at least, not so much for Karen. And that was just so thrilling. And so that was a really good moment for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that was like, after that session, it was like, you had to like to give this deep exhalation afterwards. And, like, I mean, that's like the storyteller hangover kind of thing, where it's just like,
those are the best though. That's what it's all about. I mean, like when you get to that, if you can pull that off with someone and you guys are connecting on that wavelength, man, that is fucking special, dude. You know what I mean? That means you both are vested. I love that feeling. Even though
it is a really good feeling. And that it's also kind of funny because it comes up in weird times in terms of moments. I would say moments for me, there's been so many amazing moments. And I think the one that stands out to me the most with Aaron is when he actually was able to pull off his ridiculous script on Karen's show and to call out that elder, and the elder came forward and he and Karen like took him down. Like, that was so amazing. Like, it was actually successful, and like I wrote this ridiculous script and it came through, and it was
Your
just
triumph.
really, Yes, exactly. And it was just like, yes.
Huh.
So that was
Hunting
really good.
Thunder on local television, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So that, I mean, at least for Neon Masquerade, I mean, 13 Candles to me had a lot of fun moments. Most memorable, I think, would be how to incorporate werewolves into a vampire chronicle and not have them be too deadly, but just scary enough. And I hope I pulled that off because it was just fun to have a different feel there. I don't know. But that, for me, 13 Candles was having those werewolves around.
That's true. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, props to you guys also for incorporating New World or Chronicles of Darkness and One World of Darkness games together. We've done that too, and there's no reason to keep them separate. So when I heard that you guys are adding visual to it, like I thought that was rad. I thought that was super awesome, man. So that's what makes you guys special. Thank you again for.
I mean, there's a lot more to it than just that.
Oh yeah. If you didn't have that, I would not have you on the show.
You're
Over it. No,
You're out of here.
You're out of here. No, thank you. Yeah, thank you for helping educate us on Duet Game. And again, for those listening, check them out. I shit you not. I swear, like we were telling them off camera, like we have a Discord for Twin Cities by Night, and people talk more about the esoteric guys, it seems like, than our own stuff because they have such a good reputation, man. You know what I mean? So it's awesome, and it's glad to have you guys on. So again, it'll be their information will be listed in the notes of both the podcast and the video versions. So we are going to take our next break, and then when we come back, I do shameless self-promotion and let you guys know what is going on with our stuff. I'll catch you then.
High Level Games, the industry's first choice in taking your games to the next level. We are a podcast blog and new media network at highlevelgames.ca. We have blog posts about all of your favorite games going up 5 days a week, and a podcasting network with actual plays and shows that discuss role-playing games, with more rolling out all the time. We are on iTunes, Twitch, and YouTube. Find out more information at highlevelgames.ca, a site that certainly isn't controlled by a shadowy board of directors of otherworldly origin. That's highlevelgames.ca.
Please, help. They're coming.
All right, so this is where I talk about our stuff and give shameless plugs to what's going on. So next Sunday, the 13th, we'll be having our Changeling the Lost story, Vanity, will be picked up again. And man, that's been a roller coaster ride. Multiple people have said that if they didn't know that Andrew and I were friends, they thought we were frenemies, dude, by how that game is going. Just a wide variety of like emotional characters who are dealing with like the whole just the mental and physical abuse that they sustained at the hands of True Fae. And we've had this like last couple of scenes that have taken place at the beach house of my character, like this real ratty beach house, and it's just been like the worst cookout ever. But it's been awesome, man. I've really been having fun playing that game and just kind of like seeing how everyone and their characters kind of like handling the emotional trauma that's been going on. And man, Andrew's been killing it. Tillman's been killing it, man. Slavic's been killing it. And Adam as a storyteller, just the amount of work and like that guy is one of the nicest fucking people I've met involved in role playing.
Don't forget, this is his first time storytelling too.
His first time storytelling ever, and he's been running this game, and I cannot stress enough. Go check that out if you like kind of more character development, like and I use the term personal horror again, but like the horror of changeling, and people dealing with that. And the thing that is blowing my fucking mind is the fact that Adam's like, I haven't really even touched to the core plot yet of the story. I'm like, what do you mean? Like it seems like we've been doing all this like deep rooted shit, and man, it just blows my mind. This last session was just so like fun to play in, especially how he's been playing like the NPCs and just like that Charlie kid and the wide range of emotions that that he's had with him, and it's just really been fucking awesome. So check that out. Again, it's a Changeling the Lost game. Then on the 20th, we're coming back with Twin Cities by Night. How fucking happy does it make me to run this game again? I was so fucking nervous to pick this game up with the first session, and now I just can't fucking stop thinking about it, man. It just feels so good to be fucking in that setting again, and just like with just how much in the year that we didn't play that game that we've grown as like, I feel I've grown as a storyteller and the players have grown as players. And now just to like take all the lessons we've learned in the last year, and plus two new players, Andrew, who's playing Lenny the Nosferatu, and then we have Mitch, who's playing Warren the Tremere, and just like touching upon this story again. And it feels so good to do it, man, because I feel like I'm taking my time, and I just feel like everything's fucking clicking, and I'm getting to touch upon themes again that I haven't touched upon in a long time.
I can't
And
wait to show the really super creepy side to the Nosferatu, and just like, the ghoul, and how that just ruins people and makes them so much worse. Just the vitae and that drive to have something that, like, they're just addicted to, and they just can't quite grasp or understand it. And the bond, the blood bond to someone that is just using you. That's a really dark story. I can't wait to get into it.
yeah, man, like that. I was not no spoilers for people who haven't watched it, but when I was listening to the podcast version of the last Twin Cities by Night chapter on that scene with Lenny, and the coach was just like, holy cow, like just was really fucking intense, man. And that's like one thing that, like, with the first story arc of Twin Cities by Night, I really like tried to set the tone of like I wanted more like the personal horror and like really like lack of a better term, like intimate scenes. And I feel now that's been happening a lot more, where like I don't feel like I'm rushed to put out the main plot of the story out there, and I'm just letting it organically happen. And it's just it's nice, man. It's really nice, because like I said, I was nervous touching that story again. I thought it was gonna flop, and I just thought it was gonna fail, and it was just like really nerve-wracking to do it. And now I just like want to play it every fucking week, which I couldn't do. Props to people who can run games every week. I can't do, because I would literally be like a mindless zombie. My wife would hate me, my kids would disown me, so I would not be able to hold a conversation or do anything else. So props to you, though, guys that can do that, who are listening. And then so on the 27th, we're finally going to get around to the character creation session of Hunter's Hunter 2 Corruption, which Andrew's going to be running. We were going to have it last month, but due to scheduling conflicts, we had to reschedule. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? I mean, you've talked about it before, Andrew, but one thing I would like you to talk about it that we were discussing when we had to reschedule, was that you really, really want all the players to be there for the character creation session. Explain that, because I really it really struck home with me. Got me even more excited to hear you say this.
One of the things that I think is really important when you're doing a group game, which is kind of separate from, completely the opposite of doing a duet. You're having a group of people, and to me, it's very important that everyone's able to create a character that is part of the other people's story. You want everyone to be involved in the story, and as a storyteller, I don't want to develop too much of the plot without having an idea of how everyone fits in. And so the character creation session is not just like filling out dots on your sheet. It's about creating like this story that everyone can kind of work together, especially for something like Hunters. It's not something that I want to I don't want to have it like where, you're just, you have like everyone has their own like separate thing. I want everybody involved. And so it was if just at least for that very first session, I need everybody there. I need everyone to be able to make it, so we can sit down and we can just work out and come up with interesting ways you can tie each other into your own stories.
From personal experience, and for those of you who watched Wars on Fire, it really does fucking help, man. It really helps having a joint character creation session, because you can hit the ground running like from session one. There's always, when you don't have a character creation session, there's always like there's still filling out period even in a chronicle if you do this, but it's not as long, where people are trying to figure out what their characters are. Like Slavic mentioned it best. He said there's the character you create, and then there's the character you play, and sometimes it's not quite the same. But I feel the character creation sessions, especially group ones, do help with that, especially like with how like Slavic and Adam decide they want Mitch and Cora to have like a pass together, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Little
and the banter that has come up through the story between the two of them because of that.
Exactly. It adds layers. And so I was really happy to hear that, man. And I'm really so excited to play and have you run a game for us, Smiley Andrew. And for those of you who don't know, like, our goal is to have 3 games going at once with different storytellers, and then just like, and we have like guys who are like in the bullpen waiting to run, run stories. There's like there's tons of them. Like now, just even now, recently, there's been talk about doing a Demon the Fallen game, but there's like tons of them. So we're really excited. And then finally, in our next episode of the Brian Diaries our guest is going to be Dixie, who is editor for Onyx Path. She's done editing for like a lot of different projects. She's one of the hosts for the Onyx podcast, Onyx Path podcast, called the Onyx Podcast. She's one of the hosts with Eddie Webb and Matthew Dawkins. So she'll be on talking about the importance of editing and the role-playing industry, more specifically White Wolf, and how a lot of people who are writers might want to look into having someone editing their stuff. We kind of touched that subject with Josh Heath when we talked about the Storyteller's Vault and how he recommended having someone edit your work when you post something to the Storyteller's Vault. And so she'll kind of like open our eyes and kind of shine light on that aspect. And then we confirmed that Matthew Dawkins, the Gentleman Gamer, will be the guest after that. And he will be talking about giving advice for people who want to break into writing for the RPG industry, more specifically, obviously, World of Darkness, Onyx Path / White Wolf, seeing that he works for both companies, and just how you can do that, because a lot of people want to write. It's evident. I'm not a writer myself. I mean, I would like to be, but it's just I don't.
It's not easy.
Not easy. It's not easy at all. And I think some people need to have kind of like see someone who's been successful, because Matthew Dawkins was someone who started creating YouTube videos and now is one of the main canon developers, if not, I think the main canon developer for V5. So it's kind of cool. And he's, obviously done Beckett's Jihad Diary and ton of books that are very popular in the scene. The Brian Book Club will keep going on. I'm just kind of doing the Brian Book Club whenever I get the urge to do it. I released one on My Friend Dahmer. Tons of horror books I'd like to cover and everything like that. It's just kind of like when I get the urge to do one, I'm going to do one. So keep your eyes open for those, and see if they can help inspire you or give you some material that you can use for inspiration in World of Darkness games. As always, you can find us on Twitter at twin_cities_VTM, or you can find us on Facebook at Twin Cities by Night. If you happen to like the videos, a subscription, thumbs up, and a comment would mean a lot. Also, if you happen to enjoy our podcast format, iTunes review or a review on your preferred app would mean a lot. Also, we have a Discord that you can find. Come by, shoot the shit with us. You'll see me at my embarrassing most. And then other than that, do any of you guys have anything to say before we let you all go to freedom, to where you don't have to answer questions from us anymore?
Oh, I love it. I love answering questions.
That's
like, oh, dang, that went by quickly. But this was really wonderful. Thanks for having us.
Oh, no
worries.
worries.
Thanks for being on.
Yeah, thank you for being on. You guys are super friendly. And again, I cannot stress to people listening, even if you enjoy our stuff, listen to these folks if you already don't, because it is like friggin' awesome.
Top notch.
What's that? Top notch, literally, like legitimately top notch, man. So I would say one of the best, definitely by far. So other than that, check you guys later. I got cold brew to fucking baseline into my veins. I gotta let you guys go. I'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.
The Los Angeles metropolitan area is constantly growing and changing. The Central District is full of new buildings. The Hollywood and Wilshire districts, once far from downtown, now are part of which spreads past Beverly Hills and out to the ocean. But why is all this going on in Los Angeles? Why is Los Angeles an exploding city?
Neon Masquerade.
The Demon's Mirror.
13 Candles.
3 chronicles running through the undead veins of the City of Angels.
The Esoteric Order of Roleplayers actual play podcast invites you to drink deeply.
Go to eorpodcast.com and search the Duets tag to find out more.